Good evening. This is Emergency Management Made Easy with Lauren. Class number 46. This is different. You're definitely going to need paper and pencil, pen, whatever you choose for this particular class, because it's so different from anything we've done together. Yet, with some familiarity, but totally different. The title today, What About Unthought of Safety Issues? The emergencies that you don't even think about as you go on day to day. What about those? What about unthought of safety issues? So I'm going to get started because there's a lot to unpack here. And I need you to pay attention. Don't get sleepy on this one. This is like medicine in the medicine cabinet. You don't need it today, but you may need it next week, or you may need it in your future. So I definitely need you to pay attention. So if you have to write incessantly, just keep writing, do it. But hear this. Unexpected emergencies are different from anticipated specific scenarios that have already been discussed during this series. Unpredictable events are often ignored due to apathy, in which we are just not paying attention. Flexible emergency plans that are clearly communicated, as you will receive today, as reminders, are equally as important to discuss. The unanticipated. Last week in class 45, we discussed silent medical emergencies. We discussed what we should do if someone becomes ill or sick in a public place. Another example is a stroke presenting as a feeling of doom or sudden hidden injury with no symptoms. That can happen. But let's start with a structural failure. You know, you're at the party, you're dancing, you're having fun. You're at the wedding, everyone's happy, everyone's having a great time. You're looking at the bride and groom, and and everyone is just so in love. Structural failure. This is an event. A recent example is an unexpected collapse of a building component on March 21st, 2026. A floor collapsed at the preserve at Chocorua in Tamworth, New Hampshire. During a wedding, injuring 6 people and sending roughly 70 guests into the basement, the incident occurred in a building known as the Saps House, with investigators citing potential overcrowding as a contributing factor to the structural failure. And we've been hearing more and more about this in the U.S., haven't we? The damage: a 20 by 20 foot section of the floor buckled, dropping guests about 8 feet into the lower level. Injuries: 6 people were hospitalized, with 1 person transported by air, but all injuries were deemed non-life-threatening. Thank you, Lord. Root cause analysis. While under investigation, officials suspect the building was over capacity. The lower floor contained stored farm equipment, which complicated the rescue. This incident echoes previous, more severe structural failures that wedding venues such as the 2001 Versailles Wedding Hall disaster in Jerusalem, which resulted in 23 deaths. An investigation of the event concluded that it was not caused by a terrorist attack. The testimony provided by wedding guests present in the building during the disaster reported seeing a dangerous sag in the floor moments before the collapse. An initial inquiry blamed the collapse on the PAL-CAL method of constructing lightweight coffered concrete floor systems, which was banned shortly after the completion of the wedding hall, since it was known and proven to be unsafe. A few weeks before the collapse, the wedding hall owners decided to remove the partitions. With the load path eliminated, the floor above began to sag several centimeters. The owners viewed the sagging floor primarily as a cosmetic problem and attempted to level it with additional grout and fill. However, their approach not only failed to provide additional structural capacity, it also inadvertently introduced a new and significant dead load after the weakened area during the wedding event in 2004. This significantly overstressed floor section failed, resulting in the catastrophe. The engineer, Eli Ron, inventor of the PAL-CAL method of construction, was arrested and subsequently indicted on August 2002 on the charge of manslaughter. It's one incident. And we're all just having a good time, right? Environmental technical threats. Let's look at those. Cyber attacks disrupting general security systems, utility grid failures, or rapid localized severe weather. Have you heard anything about that in the last few days? Well, Time reports on March 23rd, 2026 by Connor Green, editorial fellow, Hawaii is grappling with the aftermath of the worst flooding to hit the state in over 2 decades. Sudden. Thousands were forced to evacuate their homes and power was knocked out for customers across the islands. Brought on by severe storms. The state has suffered an estimated $1 billion in damages, according to Governor Josh Green. Oahu, Hawaii's most populous island, and Maui were hit hardest by the storms. Parts of the islands experienced 3 months worth of rain just a few days. The residents have been ordered to evacuate their homes. There is a threat of a 120-year-old dam, which could, in Oahu's North Shore, which could fail and decimate additional communities. The full scale of the disaster is still being assessed. However, the news report today, and I did check, states the Oahu Dam is stable at 83%. The threat level is above 90%. Good news today. Overlooked preparedness warnings. Things you don't even think about and issues that you may not have discussed in class or in your training anywhere. Combating panic or panic attacks. I have stressed the importance of muscle memory, have I not? Drills and training techniques, and knowing what to do instead of freezing or panicking. When a crisis happens, the initial tendency is to panic, which can cause people to overlook obvious solutions. We're all human. This isn't obvious, and the primary reason why I stress preparedness before any emergency occurs. This is why. And in any stressful situation, panic can creep up on anyone, even me. When we panic, we run the risk of making hasty, dangerous, incorrect decisions or not making a decision at all, which puts us, I didn't say you, I said us, at risk. Preparation is a great way to help reduce the risk of panic in any emergency. That's why I stress it so much. If you find yourself experiencing panic, take a moment to stop what you're doing, breathe, and think about the actions you need to take, whether you refer to training or previous preparation. Think about it. Simply take a moment to stop and assess the situation calmly. Breathe. I know this sounds repetitious, so please forgive me for beating a dead horse. Saying it, and I'm gonna say it again, over and over during our times together. Minimize the situation or assume there is no danger. That's another factor of what we do when we're not paying attention. Whether you smell gas or there is a severe weather warning, don't assume you won't be affected. Make the right decision immediately because you can't afford to wait and see what will happen or be in denial. Assume that you're going to be immediately impacted, whether it's getting out of your house because of a wildfire or evacuating ahead of a rainstorm or a hurricane. And the rainstorm we just mentioned in Hawaii. A few minutes can make all the difference in any emergency, and safety should always be top of mind, your safety. Never underestimate small disasters. Never, ever, ever. Don't underestimate them. These are your whatabouts in safety. What about this? Underestimating small disasters. We often discuss natural disasters like floods. However, small local emergencies like losing electricity or experiencing a minor house fire are rarely discussed until they happen. Stay aware. Stay aware. Long and short-term utility failure. Oh, this is a good one. This definitely goes in your medicine cabinet of remembrance. We often assume water power and sewage systems will remain functional during disasters. Not so. A major crisis can break underground water mains, leading to sudden, severe water shortages. And this is an issue rarely discussed, but we're discussing it today. You're writing this down, right? And you know that you can play this video over and over again and make sure you have good notes. Don't hesitate to call emergency services. Well, I have specific training to deal with everyday emergencies. However, I will never hesitate to contact emergency services in any situation that requires it. Why? Because first responders are highly trained in multiple scenarios and they have specialized equipment and tools that can be used if needed. Even if you're already administering first aid or CPR treatment or using a fire extinguisher to tackle a kitchen fire or any small fire, always get someone to call 911 as soon as possible. Or you can say, Siri, call 911, especially if you live alone. My advice is never hesitate. Use backup. Ask for help as soon as possible. Why not use elevators? You know what? I've stressed we should never use elevators during emergencies. You've never asked why. During an emergency in an office building or while shopping in a department store or at the mall, you will find most elevators will turn off, even ahead of a predictable event like a storm, hurricane, or tornado. The reasons are as follows. 1, elevators can open on floors that are impacted most by the emergency, causing fire or exposing wire. Elevators can get stuck between floors. Yes, they can. If too many people try to use them, they can become overloaded. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So during any emergency, stay away from the elevators. I'm surprised that you didn't ask me this on email. You never asked the question. Prepare before it happened at outlook.com. Never. I strongly suggest you find the nearest emergency stairwell and safely make your way outside or to a dedicated meeting point. We've talked about evacuation and meeting points. Loss of digital communication. Consider this one. This is what if or what about. Our sole reliance on cell phones is a major risk when networks fail because lost contact and traditional hardwired communication methods are often unavailable. They lose contact and they're unavailable. So our sole reliance on them is not wise. The best use of phones during emergencies. Let's drill down on this one. Landlines. During wide-scale disasters such as severe storms or earthquakes, landlines are utilized by emergency services, 911, or others, to connect with individuals and families that need assistance. Use your landline if you must call 911. Now let's talk otherwise. Cell phones. Text messaging from your cell phones are best used to connect with your family or out of area contacts so they will know you're safe. Use text messaging so that phone lines don't get tied up with non-emergency calls. This improves emergency services calls so they can get through and people can call 911. Use your cell phone. Say, Mom, I'm in New York, I'm fine. Doing this helps first responders, again, to get to those that need help the most and assists and speeds up response times to the emergency or disaster location. Don't forget. assuming we will immediately be rescued by is a common mistake. Emergency services aren't always available to arrive instantly or prioritize your family or my family in widespread disasters. Individuals must be prepared to be self-sufficient for an extended period. I hear it on the news all the time. Remember Hurricane Katrina and recent floods that caused the death at a girls' camp last summer in 2025. They were sleeping, and then they were overtaken by water and could not hear an alarm if there was an alarm up there in New York. Dangers of using ovens for heat. Public health and fire safety organizations, including American Red Cross, explicitly warned against this practice due to severe risk. Do not use an oven for heat, even if it's very, very cold. Don't do it. Very dangerous. Let's talk about CO. You know what CO is? Carbon monoxide poisoning. Oh, let's drill down on this. Pencils are up. You may not need this today, but you're going to need it in your medicine cabinet later. You're going to need this information. Gas ovens produce what? Carbon monoxide, an odorless, colorless, and a deadly gas that can build up in an enclosed space. This can lead to serious health issues or death. Don't use that oven. Never use or bring generators or barbecue indoors, inside your house or garages. If you're required to shelter in place, you got to stay in, even if it's cold, or are dealing with power outages. It's never safe to use generators or barbecues inside your residence. These items aren't meant for use inside as they require proper ventilation as they emit what? CO, carbon monoxide fumes that are dangerous to you and your family and are also increase the risk of fire. If you need to eat, this is the best time to make use of those canned or dry goods in your emergency kit. If you need light, stocking up on lamps, lanterns, flashlights, and plenty of spare batteries ahead of time can provide every family member what they need to see in the dark. I wouldn't use candles either, because a fire can start. A dog or a child can knock that over. Never operate a portable generator inside a garage, even with doors or windows open. Generators emit high levels of what? CO, carbon monoxide, and can quickly fill a garage and seep into the home, causing fatal poisoning within minutes. More about generators. Candles. I'm going to add that. I hadn't added that. Deadly hazards. Generators produce as much carbon monoxide as hundreds of cars, and major fire hazard and a CO source, making it improper for enclosed or partially enclosed spaces. Where to operate. Always place generators outside at least 20 feet away from any house, doors, windows, or vents to prevent fumes from entering. How many feet? 20. Common misconceptions. Opening garage doors, I repeat, does not provide enough ventilation to safely run a generator, even if the garage door is open. Safe alternatives. Use a transfer switch installed by a professional for powering home circuits rather than running cords into the house. Safety tips 101. You getting this? You writing it down? You going to play this video again? Okay. Never use a generator in a garage, basement, or crawl space under the house. No. 20 feet away from the house. Always have working carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Mine's right there. All the rooms, all the floors. Only refuel your generator when it is turned off and cool. Only refuel your generator when it is turned off and cool, as specified by the manufacturer. Creating an emergency kit. Feeding a dead horse, isn't it? You hear it all the time, right? Avoid putting off creating an emergency kit. We just talked about you. If you're hungry, you got to eat something, and you can't barbecue in the house. You can't. No. With enough supplies to support everyone for at least 72 hours. Include developing a family communication plan. We've been talking about a plan since May of 2025 when we started these conversations together. And getting additional training all ahead of time. And this is part of your training, being with me weekly. Don't wait until an emergency happens before you prepare. It's always better to have everything ready to go and not have to use it than to be caught in a situation where you don't have anything you or your family needs. Like a medicine cabinet. You may not need it today, but you might need it in a week, in a month. Preparation. Avoid social isolation. Ignoring the need to know neighbors. It's a common oversight, especially in city spaces. Ignoring neighbors is not good because they are the first ones on the scene in an emergency. In the absence of a plan, they are often overlooked as a key resource. Don't forget your neighbors. If you have elderly neighbors or those that require special assistance, take the time to check in on them following a storm or power outage to make sure they are safe if a storm is impending and you are able to safely move them. If you're able to safely move them, you might want to have them stay with you until everything passes, especially if they require special care or need a generator to operate medical or life-saving equipment like oxygen, whatever they may need. And of course, the generator is 20 feet away outside, or one that you have contracted safely near your residence. Mental fitness and physical capacity considerations. Have you ever heard any of this before? And if you did you pay attention? Okay. Don't forget, the capacity of seniors and family members or anyone's mental capacity that is required to make fast decisions under pressure. They may lack the physical ability to carry out tasks, such as escaping a building or carrying heavy items out with them. Lost or misplaced important documents. Many people fail to keep hard copies of important, hard, or hard to replace documents which are needed during and after a disaster or any emergency. Today, in historic Floyd County Courthouse, today I heard, yesterday on March 23rd, 2026 in Rome, Georgia, the courthouse caught fire. My concern is, with the courthouse burning down, catching fire, what about, here we go with the what about, the important documents that they have housed in that courthouse for all those years? Are they in a second location? Was that done? I do not know, but I thought I would bring it up and bring it to your attention because you probably heard about it and saw it on television. So keep your documents. Personally, I keep a gold box with all of my important documents there and replace and I update them when needed. During a recent incident in my community, I grabbed my dog and my gold box and was out of my door in 5 minutes. Speaking of dogs, pets and animals are our family too, right? Don't forget to make emergency plans for pets and don't assume they will be allowed in all shelters or hotels. Hopefully grandma's house or relative's house, they can go with you, hopefully. This is a frequent overlooked planning item. These unthought of safety issues and emergencies can occur suddenly and at any time. I gave you the news report from today, the news report from day before yesterday. Hawaii and the fire at the courthouse. Please suggest this video to family, friends, and colleagues. Please, please subscribe to keep our channel healthy and thriving. This is one that I am especially passionate about. Can you tell? Because these are items, issues that we don't always think about. They're, as I call them, unthought of safety issues. What about them? What about unthought of safety issues? This is Lauren Holly Allen again. Prepare before it happened at Outlook.com. Got a question? Got a question for Lauren? Prepare before it happened at Outlook.com. I have received lots of comments on YouTube from people who view the video. And thank you for that. I appreciate you. If you don't email me, that you can email me right on YouTube. Actually, right this spot. You can have comments. Thank you very much. This is March 24th, 2026. I don't know when you will see this. Maybe 2 years from now. I don't know. This is class 46 in the series. One in which I'm especially proud of. You're going to need this medicine. Medicine in the medicine cabinet. You may not need it today, but you're going to need it sometimes. Remember the video? You can always go on YouTube and play it over and over again. That's the best part about it. That's what I'm proud of. See you next week. Bye-bye.